This is the best way to be running the dime 3-2 defense right now. So what you want to do is in your coach adjustments, you're going to want to go in and you're going to want to turn auto flip defensive play call off. You're going to want to put defensive motion response to disabled. You're going to want to put option read key on conservative, option pitch key on aggressive. RPO read and pass key are both going to be on conservative. At the bottom here, you're going to put your safety depth on close and your safety width on pinch. Now, from there, what you want to do is go down to your dime 3-2 or dollar defense. And I want to talk briefly about your personnel. The most important thing in this defense is to have a minimum. This is a minimum of 3 double or nothings at your defensive line position. If you're playing regs, just get your best pass rushers in there. If you're playing CFM, try to get those double or nothings ranked up. But the double or nothing ability is really what makes this entire defense as a whole go, because it is going to give you the best sheds possible. Now, what I typically do is I typically actually pair a double or nothing with an instant rebate. I put all my X factors on my D line because at its core this year, dollar and really almost every single defense at its real core comes down to maybe a quasi decent Sen 5, but it's primarily a block shed based year. There's not a lot of great, fantastic, phenomenal blitzes that are impossible to pick up. And so you need the ability to get pressure with your defensive line. Now, because you can get pressure with your defensive line in this game, if you're using those abilities, specifically the double or nothing ability, it is going to allow you to play more passive, bend but don't break style of defense. So what I've got here on the D line here is we've got Justin Tuck, John Randall, Will Anderson. They all have double or nothing and instant rebate. I believe that John Randall has defensive rally or something like that. But anyways, at the safety positions or the sub linebacker positions, I recommend safeties with high change of direction. Change of direction is the most important rating here, in my opinion, because it's going to help them move better. Slot corners, if you're going to skimp on a position, slot corner is where to do it. Got a free card, you want to slot in there. That's where you want to skimp. The back four, these are your most important coverage players. Ideally, your safeties. Your safeties are really who the entire defense is played through is the safeties. But the outside corners, right? You just want high speed, high zone coverage. That's really all you're looking for in those positions. Now let's go ahead and talk about the actual setup. So the way that I like this to run this defense is actually a couple of different ways in which you can be running this defense. It's going to give you two possibilities, and we're going to give, generally speaking, the same look. What I like to do, you could put a shell on here if you want to put like cover 2 shell or cover 4 shell. That's totally fine. But what we're going to do is we're going to first talk about this play, SS Zone Blitz. Now, there's a lot of different ways to run this play. This is kind of my base defense, my core defense, the defense that I want to be in the majority of the game. I'm going to show you how I like to run it now. So in the beginning, one way you could run it is you would just slant your defensive line here to the right, and then you would get this looping blitz angle. Unfortunately, this blitz angle is not as good as it was in the beginning of the year. And that time we get the DT disengage, which still does happen some post-patch, by the way. But it's still not amazing. It's not an amazing blitz angle anymore. So what I like to do with it is instead of doing that version where we're crashing the D line to the right, what I like to do now is I like to shift my linebackers to the left. You don't necessarily have to do that for the blitz. It just helps. It makes it easier to set up. Move this guy between the guard and the tackle, and then you can pretty much hover wherever with your user. It doesn't really matter. But essentially, you see how he keeps this blitz angle going that direction. And you're going to see that this new blitz angle is something that I personally prefer. This is going to give you a little bit of a different style of blitzing. And it is going to also kind of like coincide with other things we can do from the defense. But I love this move over loop angle. I feel like this move over loop is going to come in a lot more just in terms of percentages. Loops in this game in general are not amazing in terms of their high success rate. The reason for the Sen 4 is that it puts them on a timer. And then also by doing the Sen 4 with this looper, what it's going to do is it's going to give both of your outside pass rushers a one-on-one pass rush angle. So that's where they're double or nothings. It's going to just really help the sheds within this defense. So that's why I like this angle. It's not 100%, and loops in general are just not amazing. But this blitz will do a pretty good job of doing two things. Number one, it's going to do a good job of keeping your opponent on a timer. And then number two, it can keep your quarterback in the pocket. One of the other things you could do is you could contain this defense to the side. that the quarterback's ruling out on. So something like this would be a pretty safe defense to be able to contain. And then you see how that when we contain on that loop side, a lot of times it can actually make this loop come in a little bit better. So it's just an uncomfortable pressure to play because it is going to kind of collapse the pocket and it's going to put them on a relatively decent time, or sometimes it will come in. And there's not, what's nice about this is outside of play action, there's not like an amazing way to consistently pick this up. So what you're doing is you have the potential of pressure, and then situationally it may come in a couple times a game, but those couple times it comes in could make all the difference in the world. So anyways, I like that specific blitz angle. Now what I want to do is show you how you can kind of build around this. So one of the things that you could do to kind of build around that blitz angle is you can do it from other plays, and you'll get a slightly different type of blitz angle, but it will effectively do basically the same thing. So we have that as a zone blitz, but we could also do this out of any kind of cover for really any play in the formation pretty much. But we'll just show here out of like what it allows you to do is it allows you to be more multiple in your coverage. So we can now use cover 4 quarters here. We're going to set it up exactly the same. You're going to see that it's a little bit of a different blitz angle, just slightly. And so if that A-gap blitz is not coming in on that move over, then you can run this one, and this one has a decent chance of coming in. And it also allows you to be more multiple with your coverage in behind this. So we're not just forced into a zone-based defense. We now have the ability to mix in some cover 4 matching principles. There you see the blitz angle came in. Another thing that you could do is, let's say that you wanted to come out in a cover 2. You could come out in this play Tampa to drop. Now what's nice about this is, it really come out in cover 2 as well, but what's nice about this is you can actually blitz this guy and then move him over, and it's pretty much the same blitz angle. As you can see right here, it's the same basic idea, and then you're going to hover kind of in this general area here, and you're going to see that this kind of can change the style of loop. So it just gives you a lot more multiplicity within your defense. You can now run, you can mix in this cover 3 hard flat. So now it's that cover 3 shell, but it's got a nice stock hook curl that you don't have to shade or anything like that. Those stock hook curls are really good, at least where the game's at right now. So anyways, I just think that, this just gives you a lot more multiplicity within your defense. You could also mix in some man coverage. So as you see here, let's say that we wanted to do something like this. We're going to move this guy over on the loop, and then that loop didn't look as great. We'll just do it like this. But as you can see here, we're kind of crafting a man coverage, and then at the snap of the ball, we'll just switch stick to the deep half, kind of play a deep half, and now we have, another variation of this. You can also flip this really seamlessly. So let's say I want to mix in some man coverage here. I could go to this cover 2 man. This is becoming one of my favorite bend but don't break defenses. Just sit in a little cover 2 man here, and we're playing pretty safe, and we're still having a loop threat, right? We're still having that basic core functionality from a loop threat, really regardless of what they do offensively, and really regardless of what play we call defensively. We could run this out of match. We could run this out of any kind of zone drop style. We could run it out of cover 3 cloud. It saves us adjustments. It's really easy to set up. And as you can see there, it does come in some. It's not going to come in 100% of the time, but it still does come in. And if you pair this with really, really good defensive linemen that are going to get consistently the best sheds in the game, it's going to give you a pretty decent overall defense.